Now then, so Volvo FM today, adblue quality faults. So we're going to get dug into this one. Now, it could be various things with a Volvo. It doesn't necessarily mean the adblue's shot. So we'll plug gel test in, get into the EMS, see what the faults are in the memory when this finally loads up. These faults can be caused by various different components. So we'll do some tests and see if we can get to it. So when we look at the fault codes, we can see that it says that the adblue quality is low, and a lot of other spiel afterwards. So we'll go out with that, and then we're going to go into some parameters which I've already preset on gel test for knock sensors, etc. I'll do lots of Volvos, and you can see it reads just over 19%. We should be having 32.5% adblue in water content as a minimum, so it's obviously very low. So first things first, we need to get out and we'll have to check the adblue manually. So we'll take the cap off. I've already taken the filler out because I can't take them out with one hand. I use these snap-on pliers generally to pull it out. So we'll pull the filter out so we can dip the tank properly. I use a bit of stud iron just to dip into the tank. All we need is a little drop of adblue. Stir it up a bit. Bang it on my refractometer. And as I said before, we should be seeing between at least 32.5% adblue in water. And now if I can actually get this to show you on the camera, I'm no David Bailey to say the least, but we should, or you should see, that the adblue quality is well above 32.5%. If you look on the right hand side at the top, it's closer to 35%, so the quality of the adblue is more than satisfactory, which is telling me that it could be the level sensor faulty inside the tank, which we'll test, and that's underneath that plate, because it has its own refractometer built in. But we'll go back in the cab and do some more tests. So we'll go back on the computer, go into the SCR reduction mode, which will reset the adblue quality if it's reading okay on the sensor. If the sender unit's knackered, it will not reset to 32.5%. So we'll go in here and we'll do the activation test and see what it comes up with. So when it's done its thing, we'll go click, then we'll go back into my measurements. Now we've done the reset of inducement mode, go back in, and you can see it's now 32.5%, so we know the sender unit is okay, or the sensor on the sender unit is okay. So it's down to do some more tests. Now, adblue quality pour, it can use the knock sensors to measure the adblue quality, and I suspect we've probably got a faulty knock sensor on this one. So I'm just going to do a knock sensor test, which will get the engine up to 10, and then it should tell us the reliability of each knock sensor, and if each signal is reliable or not. Obviously, if you've got a downstream reading more than your upstream, it's going to think the adblue quality is poor, or if the figures between the two are very close when the adblue is dosing, then we can either see we've got a blocked injector or a knock sensor. But we need to see what comes out with this test before we go any further, because if it doesn't give us a good reading on any of the knock sensors, then that's our first port of call. As I said, this has got to get the temperatures, the knock sensors up to temperature past the dew point before they can kick in. So we'll wait and see. So after the test is completed, you can see we've got the upstream knock sensor has got unreliable data, so we need to go into that. I'm going to change the knock sensor. I'm not going to check any of the wiring because I've done hundreds of these. Now we'll take this one off inside, take the exhaust heat shield off, set the marker light out, and see what happens. So there's the knock sensor in question, routed down the side of the exhaust. There's the control unit. I say I'm not going to test the wiring because I know for a fact put up a bit of a fight. We've broken a few bolts, which is standard, so we'll have to drill that out, tap it out, put a new bolt in. and then we've got the old sensor out. So we cut the plug, hardest use a 22mm on a long ratchet, seized to fuck as normal. So it's a Volvo, but I am using a Renault part number on this one. If you take the 7.4 off a Renault, it becomes a Volvo part number, and that's solely because there's a Renault dealer around the corner and we have a good relationship with them, so instead of paying a fortune for the knock sensors, we have them getting quite cheap. Bolt drilled and tapped, covers back on, and then we're back into it. So again, we'll clear the cords first, before going any further. Get the cords cleared off, and then it'll be a case of I'll get the engine run up back to temp, and then we need to start the knock sensor test again, which I am pretty certain now that will come back with reliable data. So we'll kick the tests. We'll start off with getting these tests done again. We'll reset the reducement mode again, just for good practice really. And then we also need to, we'll have to do a knock sensor reset at some point, but we'll bang this in and make sure that we're getting the readings as we should. So we've done the new inducement mode reset. So back into system checks, back to our knock sensor checks. Now we've already ran this up to temperature again, so we can get the test going. And like I said, first of all we'll just reset the knock sensors, tell it basically it's had a new one fitted. Whether it makes any difference or not, I don't know, but it's on the computer, so it's always good practice to do. If it's there, might as well use it. So we've got that reset, hopefully, if gel test wakes up, because it's about as lively as I am today. For some reason on some models gel test works very quickly, but on Volvos, Renaults, because there's that many ECUs, I think it's trying to reset. It seems to take forever, but on we go. Cycle the ignition as it says. It resets the ECUs. Takes the power away and allows them to reset. So let's get onto the knock sensor test now. Like I say, I've already warmed the engine up to make the process a lot quicker. We'll go back into our knock sensor check and get that kicked in. Leave it in the workshop to annoy everybody. Because if you've ever done a knock sensor test or any sort of test like that, you will know how loud it becomes. So the test is now underway. As you can see, the knock sensors aren't ready yet because they still haven't reached the dew point, so we'll have to let this run for its course, and then when we come back we'll see what it's like. So as you can see now, it's run its course. Knock sensors are okay, they're all ready. They're reading similar parts per million, but if I look down here, that is because the AdBlue metering is deactivated, so it's raw exhaust gases both upstream and downstream for now. Slight difference because it has gone through the SCR, but I'm pretty certain this one will be a fix. We'll hook it up to the loaded trailer, take it for a road test, but it's a fix.